I never lose, either I win or I learn. Those are my only options, to whomever it may concern. About to be a hot topic, play with fire, you get burned. Ain't nobody give me nothing, whatever I got, better I earn. I never lose, but I learn. I either win or I
Thank you for listening
learn.
to the
Those are my
Strong
only
AF
options, to
podcast.
whomever.
This episode is brought to you by our Weight Loss Transformation Masterclass. After spending over 30 years of my life being obese and dealing with chronic constipation issues, I decided to get my certification in fitness, nutrition, and wellness to empower myself to lose over 70 pounds and keep it off.
Watching my brother and dad have a heart attack within weeks of each other, I knew I had to make a change, but I wasn't sure what to do. After researching and studying to get my certification in fitness, nutrition, and weight loss management, I was able to use this knowledge I gained to lose over 80 pounds and keep it off.
Now we're passionate about helping others to avoid the same mistakes that we made and changing the world through holistic health and wellness. So, our approach is focused on mindset because overall health, including our mental health, means everything to us.
Imagine waking up with more energy than you imagined possible, no longer worrying about digestive issues and bloating.
We're here to show you how to ditch the fad diets and make small changes in your lifestyle, which will make a massive impact on your quality of life.
These are changes that you will be able to pass on for generations to come. Go to veganstrongandfit.com/masterclass today to sign up for your free masterclass and get started on a happier, healthier journey.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Strong AF podcast. I'm Ashley,
I'm Yuri.
and we're really excited to come to you today because this is a topic that we've brought up several times throughout other podcast episodes, but we've never really dove in deep to this. And so today we want to take some time and really talk about your mental health and how that affects the way that you eat, sleep, exercise. And the reason that this is important to us is because as weight loss coaches, one of the biggest things is not just coaching on actual weight loss, but it's mindset coaching. And that comes from many times trauma in childhood or adulthood, and things like depression, anxiety, stress. And so, those are the types of things that we personally deal with our clients and ourselves. And we just want to talk to you more about that and some ways that, you know, maybe by sharing our stories that you won't feel so alone and understand that it's not just you, um, and that you don't have to go through this alone. You know that there are people here for you, even if you don't feel like it. We're here for you. So always feel free to just reach out to us, whether it's an email or social media. Yeah, any.
Whether it's on our Instagram page or our Facebook group, both at the Strong AF Podcast. You can reach us, you can send us emails, however you feel.
Exactly. Because one of the biggest things, it's really hard to feel alone, um, and then to actually feel like you're going through something alone. And we don't want that for anyone.
Yeah, because the thing with mental health, it's all like the word says, it's mental. The brain is the control center. It all starts right there, and whether it's depression, anxiety, trauma, whatever relationship you've been in, whether it's with friends, family, strangers, whatever encounter that created this feeling that has you in the dumps. It's, it can definitely take its toll on you and control your way of life, whether it's through weight gain, anxiety, depression, and keep you down on yourself where you can get to the extent where you physically harm yourself
Mhm.
or harm someone else. And no one wants that. We definitely don't.
Exactly. So we just want to make sure that we come on here and kind of talk through everything because I feel like so many people think, oh well, if I tell somebody that I'm going through this, and they're going to think I'm crazy, and I don't want people to think I'm crazy, but you're not. You know, everybody has hard times, and everyone's been through some type of trauma, and now trauma can be different for different people. It doesn't mean that you've had to witness something extreme or be involved in something that we would consider extreme, um, like something that we view as a crazy drama on TV or something like that. Trauma can mean that you can be even anything from being a child and misinterpreting what your parents were saying. If you perceived it in a certain way, then that's the way that you perceived it, and that's the way that you grew up thinking that this had happened. So, trauma happens in all kinds of different ways, and I feel like many times we kind of push aside some people like, oh, but you had it so good growing up, you had a good life, you had lots of money, you had all these friends, so therefore you can't be depressed, or yeah, you had it hard, but man, we grew up in the same place. We both went through the same thing. Like, just get over it and brush it off. But neither one of those are acceptable. People deal with things in their own ways, and we have to be there to support one another.
Yeah. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. You can't just snap your fingers and now we're depressed and now everything's gone away
Right.
and you're fine. Most people, I know, speaking for myself, when I'm depressed, it's hard to speak about it. You hold it in because you don't want to be like a burden on anybody. You may think that your thoughts, your feelings are slowing someone else down, or you don't want to talk about your things because it could depress them or something like that. It's like you have on this jacket or whatever, this jacket of protection. Like it's your depression is protecting you from going through your feelings and living through these emotions and processing all this stuff. And it's hard to shake that off and start to cope with it and everything, and starting to feel better.
Right, exactly. And the thing too is you can feel better. I mean, you can go through that, and then you can have good days, but then something may trigger it, and then you come back to that bad day and that depression because if you don't really talk about it, and sometimes even if you do talk about it, you can still have these triggers. But if you don't fully talk about it and get it out and get it off your chest, then it's just going to keep coming back up, and you can bury it and push it down deep inside, but it's going to come back up. So the best thing to do is to find someone, preferably a professional, that you can speak to about this. Because that was one of the biggest things that Yuri and I did for ourselves was to speak to a therapist. And it was extremely helpful, not only as a couple, but individually because there were things from past traumas for me that I didn't even realize were triggering me until I had to really think about it. And I'm like, yeah, I do tend to get more depressed during this time of the year, and that makes sense that that's why. So you may have your triggers, and one of the biggest things about that is not necessarily, oh my gosh, realization now is going to go away because that's not how it works. But once you have that realization, you can understand, okay, I know I'm feeling this way right now, but I also understand what time of the year it is. And I know that this is a time that stresses me out. For example, mine is between around Thanksgiving to Christmas. I have extreme anxiety during that time because of traumas that have happened in my life. And because of that, I have extreme overwhelm because not only is it that time where I relive those memories, but also it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, and two of our sons have birthdays in December. So it's extremely overwhelming. And I'm sitting here, my chest feels like it's tightening just thinking about it. So it's not an easy thing to overcome. It's not like this trauma just happened recently. It has been years, but still, just the thought of that stresses me out. So, what we did, I talked to Yuri about it and told him, like, this is the time that I'm anxious. So, please don't like ask me to do anything extra. I can't. So, what we've decided is that instead of doing all the running around like we used to do, house to house to house for all these times, we take vacation during that time so that we can just get away with our family and just kind of relax and have time together to spend together and not feel completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, because once you get to the root of everything that causes your anxiety, your stress, or whatever these feelings, these emotions, it'll be easier to cope because you can do a ton of things, coping mechanisms. Like I know for me, every now and then I may wake up in the morning for some reason, or for no reason, I really haven't really come to this conclusion. Just wake up where I know I'm just upset for some reason, which there's nothing I can think of that causes me frustration, where I just can tell that I'm in a bad mood. But working out, cardio, and everything, that's my stress reliever. That really helps calm me down, put me in a great mood, and then gets my heart going and everything, and get the juices flowing, and it really brings me down, brings me back to earth, where everything is calm and cool. I can be outside with nature, which is really relaxing and eases my mind. So that really works for me. I know that helps me get through tough times and things like that, especially when I put this into my morning routine where I'm constantly doing it. That way, I don't have to worry about that stress or anxiety creeping up on me out of nowhere, where I'm just all of a sudden, man, where I'm starting to have 1 day, 2 days, 5 days of a deep depression. And where me, I guess as a kid, where you've been taught as a little boy, you fall, you get hurt, and let's say you have a sister or something like that, you both fall, you get hurt. Your parents come to your sister, they tell you, okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, no need to cry, it's all right, daddy's got you, it's okay, it's okay. And then they come to you, the man, the boy, stop crying, you better man up, toughen up, toughen up. Where they're putting that on you, they're telling you it's not okay to cry. It's not okay to have these emotions and everything like that, where these days can sneak up on you and it's very rough. And it makes it hard for you to share certain stuff with people because you're taught to be a man, toughen up, don't worry about it, don't show any weakness, don't show any emotions. So whatever you're going through, you're just keeping it tucked in. You're not expressing it to your wife, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad. You're just letting it build up, and it takes a toll on you. It can eat you up inside.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's one thing with being physically exhausted, but when you're going through something like this, whether it's stress, anxiety, depression, whatever, that mental exhaustion is 100 times worse than physical exhaustion. Sometimes it can feel that you can't even open your eyes. You don't want to do anything that you'd normally be excited to do. Like you just want to lay in bed all day. So it can be extremely exhausting. And what that leads to is lack of exercise and eating right. And honestly, that exercise gives us endorphins to make our body feel better. So it's just kind of this never ending spiral when we get into that. So, and it can be hard too because, um, like Yuri said, whenever you go through these, it's hard to talk to somebody about it because sometimes you feel like you should just be okay. You don't want to be viewed as the crazy person, or if you don't want to be viewed as you're not being tough, you're not handling yourself. So there's a lot of different things from gender roles, like Yuri talked about being a man, but also being a woman and a mother. We're expected to just people look at us as we're super mom, and we say something like, "Oh, these kids are getting on my nerves today. They're not listening. I feel really stressed out." And they're like, "It's okay, mom, you got it." Okay, but I just told you that I'm having a really hard time, and you told me, "Okay, you got it." And, sometimes that's not what we're looking for. Yes, as women, we are strong and we can do a lot, but sometimes we also need that support.
Yeah, to piggyback off what you said, there's a therapist. His name is Jay Barnett, and like you was talking about Superman, he's always talking about like guys, we have to take off this cape from being Superman and learn to function in our Clark Kent. Whereas for me, that means learning to be comfortable and not having to save the day all the time, not having to be the strong one, the masculine one, the protector, the provider, where you're comfortable, you're able to function in your normal state where you can just go through everything and not have to put on this facade of strength and this grudge, just where you're strong and nothing can phase me. I'm a tough guy, and where you can be Clark Kent, where you can still function, where you can process emotions, where you have feelings, where you can tell somebody that hurt me, or I didn't like the way you did that. To me, it felt like you were pushing me off, you were brushing me to the side, and that
Mhm.
really hurt my feelings and stuff like that. Just being normal as a man, learning to process your emotions, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to check on people. It's okay to tell your friends, your guy friends that you love them, you worry about them, and stuff like that. Just learning to go through life genuinely being authentic and caring and processing your feelings instead of burying everything deep down and being this tough guy.
Mhm. Exactly. We have our Frenchie. She's over here sleeping on my lap and snoring extremely loud.
Yep.
But that's another thing for me. Like when I get anxious, sometimes it feels nice just to cuddle up with whether it's my kids, my hubby, or the dogs, and just feel comforted. That's something that really helps me. But I think everybody has their own comfort, and don't let anyone tell you that that's not the way you should be doing it, because if that's what makes you feel better and it's healthy. I'm not encouraging alcohol because it numbs the pain, but if if there's something that makes you feel better, whether it's walking, singing, um, maybe you decide to do something crazy like axe throwing, whatever makes you feel better and gets that stress and gets that anxiety out of you, do it. Like I said, we take vacation during the time of year where I'm really stressed out. And, a lot of family look at that as us being selfish because we don't want to be spending time with them. But it's not that, it's that we value our mental health. And for me, that's a big time of year that stresses me out. And I have all year to be with my family. So, it's not just that one time of year that I'm allowed to go see them, but for me, this is very important for me.
Definitely take time for yourself. That's self care. Just knowing what triggers you, what causes anxiety, stress, trauma for you. There's nothing wrong with saying no and stepping away. That can be the best thing for you. You know what causes all these
Hmm.
anger issues or this sadness and stuff like that. Just step away, just say no. Go get your nails done, manicure, pedicure, your hair done, something that's relaxing and calming for you. Just take care of you because these mental issues can definitely take a toll on your life. It's cutting away of the precious time we have on this earth. So definitely take pride in loving you, truly loving and respecting yourself. Having this respect for yourself is great for your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, everything in general.
Exactly. Well, guys, I hope you got a lot out of this. Um, this is a subject that's near and dear to us for many reasons, like we've talked about through all of our previous episodes. So just make sure that you're taking time for yourself and really take some self discovery time to understand what it is that triggers you and maybe how you can react to those in a different way. Things that make you feel better to help release some of that stress. And I hope you guys have an amazing week.
You just take care and heal yourself, heal these traumas so it's not passed down from you to your kids and so on and so forth. Break these generational curses and heal these traumas.